wardrobe at Abercrombie.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are back to recap episode 2 of Joden's season of The Golden Bachelorette. And then later on, an interview with Dan.
Dan was the winner of the talent show, and he had some extra time with oh my God, I keep going to say Jen with Joan. It's the 2 J name Bachelorette, single syllables back to back. That keeps getting me. He had one-on-one time with Joan. And yeah, episode 2, we have our first group date, our first one-on-one date. Lots to talk about.
Yeah. He also, to Dan, seems like just a genuinely really lovely guy. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to talking to him.
Well, we start off at the mansion. Here's my thing. I think we changed locations for Golden.
Really?
I just can't get on board with making these golden men and women climb up and sleep on the top bunk.
Okay, so you believe there is a cutoff age for bunk beds?
Well, you even hear the guys being like, hey, my knees, I got to get up a few times in the middle of the night to pee. Going up and down the ladder is not really practical. And it's just not. As a 26-year-old woman, I already am like not over the moon about a bunk bed situation, but whatever. If I was 55, 60, 65, 70... No, don't make me sleep on a bunk bed. Come on. I don't even want to sleep in a single bed. Like, I will settle for a double.
I wasn't okay with a bunk bed when I was 12. So I personally am never okay with a bunk bed.
And like sharing a bathroom. I don't know. I just personally feel.
Well, sharing a bathroom, not that. That one, now that's a stretch.
No, it's not a stretch because I'm proposing a new location.
Okay, well, you're also proposing a personal bathroom?
Well, when I was on the show, when we filmed at Nemacolin, it was only like 4 floors. It was like a small hotel. It's hard to describe, but I was in a room. It was just me and Rachel in a room. We each had our own like queen size bed, and we shared a bathroom, just the 2 of us. Shower, massive bathtub, double sink.
Well, okay, so you got lucky.
I know, but I'm saying, we could make that happen for our golden contestants. I think they deserve it.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the ratings do.
Okay. And then we see Pascal is paying other contestants.
I personally would want more Pascal on my screen because I get excited every time he speaks because I could just tell that the man will say anything. He's very blunt. He has no filter and he's very funny.
And very French.
I love that. Like I want like this man. I could just already tell like he's like, I'm the man. Like, like you guys are lucky I'm here. And that's the vibe I'm getting from Pascal. And I love that.
He's hilarious. I don't remember who it was, but Pascal paid someone $100 to do his laundry. He basically said, like, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before. I'm not going to do it. Paid them $100.
Yeah, I'm not doing it for $100.
If he's like, will you do my laundry for $100?
And he's like, and you got to like fold it and it's got to be like perfect.
Who did his laundry?
Greg
Did a great job. Beautiful.
Greg is a contestant who's growing on me. I also feel like $100 is a lot. I mean,
$100 is a lot. Yeah. I mean, if we send our laundry out in New York, how much is it?
It's like $50.
$50 for like 2 bags. Like each of us
picked up, delivered. Yeah.
Both. They pick it up. It's all folded.
Yeah.
So like $25 each.
And that's like Manhattan prices. So like I'm assuming it's a lot cheaper.
I kind of like that Greg started a side hustle in the house. Like they're just chilling if you're not on a date. Maybe I've changed my answer. I'd be walking around being like, who wants their laundry done? $100. Let's go.
Truly. I mean, you really just changed your tune from the beginning to the end of this.
I see a potential here for a side hustle that could actually make some money. And also, I just remember being bored a lot of the time when we weren't on dates. Yeah. So it'd just be kind of something to do. Yeah. If I'm going to pay to do it, why not? Okay, we have the first group date of the season in this episode. Always exciting. And it is an 80s prom theme, which is kind of fun because I feel like a lot of these guys probably went to prom in the 80s.
Definitely.
So it's like a real throwback for them. Whereas when we did our prom in Paradise, which this kind of reminds me of, it was more of like a costume party, like a theme night, Yeah. Dressing up in 80s apparel.
Kenny and I were the only ones around for prom in the 80s.
Okay, no, you weren't. You were born in 86. I feel like the star of this date was Jonathan. Joan obviously agreed because he won prom king to go with her prom queen.
He had a sad prom story. His prom date, broke it off right before, like a week before prom, so he never went.
Yeah, and that seemed to be a painful memory for him. Definitely an experience he wanted to have that he wasn't able to. So I feel like this is very healing, you know? It's like healing your inner child, being able to go back to prom with all these guys. It's 80s theme. There's a beautiful girl.
I don't know. Every time Jonathan's on the screen, I'm just like, I think this guy's 35 years old. Like, I can't wait to have him on the podcast because I need to know how he got to where he's at.
I know. He looks really good.
Right?
He looks like one of the youngest guys.
Yeah. Oh,
if
yeah.
not like much younger than the rest of the
he
guys.
He could have been on Jen's season.
Like if he was in our season of Paradise, I don't know if I would have been like, this is really weird.
I don't know. I think
okay, now we're taking this too far. We're taking it too far. But Jonathan looks great. Another highlight, we've got Jordan running into his ex-girlfriend, Taylor Dane.
Yeah.
So random.
Very random. I want it more. I need more information on that whole thing.
Yeah, for those listening, if you didn't watch, it's not his ex-girlfriend. They went on like a date, I think, but it was giving Victoria Fuller running into Chase Rice, but just a lot chiller.
Yeah, I need to know what happened. I need to know who broke off that after. Like, did they go on another date? Was it just one date?
I know. Well, maybe if it doesn't work out between Jordan and Joan, they'll reconnect.
Yeah, maybe Taylor Dane seeing him in a new light, and she's like, oh, he's more desirable now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Taylor Dane. Maybe she has the hots for Jordan now. Maybe we'll find out when we interview him. It's definitely a question we have to ask. I would need more tea on this situation. And then another standout, we have Charles, who is just so sweet. Like when we see him getting ready with Pascal, Pascal's reassuring him that he's going to look great. Seeing him kind of sitting on the sidelines alone, it obviously, you don't want to see anyone sitting by themselves. I mean, he might have just been taking kind of like a quiet moment to recharge. I mean, this experience can be very overwhelming. And
yeah, he could have been a little overwhelmed. I mean, I feel like I would have been in that situation as well. I'm like, okay, there's one woman here, there's 15 guys. I need a break. You know, it was giving that 80s prom like by himself thing. I was like, oh, he needs a sidekick. How is nobody sitting next to Charles right now, talking him up? Like, just go talk to the girl, Charles. Just talk to her. You could get her.
Way to hype him up, Joe. He needed a hype man. He needed a buddy. Man.
But he came back, and then he talked to his daughter, which they keep breaking the fourth wall with getting phone calls.
Yeah, we've got Spencer getting eliminated on Jen's season, calling his mom.
Everyone's just using the phone now.
Charles is calling his daughter.
Yeah, kind of wild. But Charles, to me, he could kind of do whatever he wants because Charles is the sweetest man alive.
Yeah, we're going to give him a pass for this one. I'm not really sure how he got that phone privilege, but it seemed like he might have needed a little family love in that moment. And I'm sure talking to his daughter felt very just reassuring.
Yeah, he got it. He went back out there. He started moving around and grooving.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Yeah. I like to run at least 3 to 4 days a week, and
Your hook is designed to fit.
Think electric Chevy Equinox
that give you confidence on the road and battery age and condition. This environment is good for Joan to kind of get to know people better because, all right. Group
excludes tax, title, license, dealer fees, and optional equipment. Dealer sets the final price. To learn more, visit Chevy.com/EquinoxEV.
All right. Group date ends with Jonathan being awarded prom king.
Yep.
I think everyone seemed to have a really good time on the date, and I think this environment is good for Joan to kind of get to know people better because it's easy to chat, but also show off your personality.
Yeah, this was, it's the first group date, and when we watched the Bachelorette, the first group date's really when people start butting heads, and it was kind of nice. Like all the guys, you could tell were happy for Jonathan, and everybody was supporting each other. So it's just a different vibe out there.
Oh yeah, a very different vibe.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, you're right. Like the first group date is when people start to go, oh,
you're this person. I don't like you.
Yeah, I mean, the first group date of Jen's season, we had Devin stealing her for ice cream and,
Yeah.
Controversy ensued. And we don't really get that with the Golden Men. There's no like, whoa, it's a competition and it's a little more intense and we got to take this seriously and people are butting heads. It just seemed like everyone's kind of having a casual good time.
I feel like where the competition is going to arise will be when they are barbecuing and grilling, because we saw a little bit of that when they were barbecuing the burgers where
it's more of like an everyday task.
Yeah, and it's just more like, I wouldn't put barbecue sauce on my burger. What are you fucking nuts? This guy's overcooking the burgers. Mind your business how I cook my burgers. I feel like older men are more passionate about barbecuing.
Yeah,
than
80s
talent.
proms.
Yeah, 80s prom and talent shows.
Definitely, because they're like, I know what I know.
Yeah, exactly.
We cut back to the house and they're all complaining about Greg snoring, which is just taking me right back to my argument. Less people per room.
Less people per room.
7 guys in one room.
Also, I mean, the guy can't help that he snores. You woke me up in the middle of the night last night because I was snoring for the first time in a while.
Okay, I didn't wake you up. I tried to gently roll you from your back to your side because you rarely snore. Like maybe like 5 to 10 nights out of the whole year you snore. And you only do it if you're on your back.
Yeah.
And if I can roll you onto your side, you always stop. And I went to roll you onto your side and I scared the crap out of you. Like you literally jumped up and I don't know if you remember this. You were half asleep. You like jumped and then you stared at me as if you didn't know who I was.
Really?
Yeah, you like looked at me and I was like, it's okay. It's just me. Like you're snoring. And then you just went right back to sleep. And I was like, I don't even know if he's going to remember this in the morning. This was such an unusual and uncomfortable interaction.
Wow. No, I didn't know it was that intense.
Yeah, you like literally looked me dead in the eye. Like, who are you and why are you waking me up?
Jeez.
I know, it was horrible. But you stopped snoring, so I didn't regret it. One-on-one date, we have Chalk. They go to Disneyland. So fun. Obsessed. Love it. I have been to I don't know if actually I've ever been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World. I really want to go to Disney and Universal with you at some point.
Yeah.
But we could just go and like get a walking drink and try all the food there. And we don't have to go on the rides because it is so magical.
The Dole Whip is incredible.
You know what? I actually just saw Kelsey posted that her and Joey's 2 sisters were at Disneyland because that's the one in LA, right?
Yeah.
And they did a really good food crawl and they tried the Dole Whip and it looked really good.
The Dole Whip is the reason to go.
What is it?
It's just like frozen yogurt, but pineapple. But it's like, you would think it would be super sugary, but or like super sweet, but it has like a creaminess to it. It's like the perfect combination of like sugar and cream. It's unbelievable.
Well, your favorite thing in the whole world is frozen yogurt. So
I love frozen yogurt.
It makes sense that you're passionate about this. But I love seeing them at Disneyland. I feel like
it was a fun date.
This should be
I feel like this should replace the helicopter date every season.
Yeah. If I'm a contestant, I would rather go to Disneyland.
Oh, than a helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any day of the week.
It looked so fun. You get to walk around. You get to know each other. I feel like that's also just a good first date activity.
Yeah. You could get the show to maybe buy you like a Disney hoodie or something. You get a souvenir out of it. I'd be all about it. And then we go their night portion. Chalk wore a tuxedo. They were dressed up really nice.
Yeah, she was in a blue dress. She looked like Cinderella.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. So romantic. So magical. And Chalk opens up about his experience. He was married for 12 years.
Yeah.
They have children together. They got divorced. He said, they just weren't right people for each other. And then he found his last partner, who he was engaged to, I believe, and she sadly passed away.
Such a sad story.
Very sad story.
I don't know how many more of these sad stories I could handle.
The concept, like I'm watching this show for like hope and love, and so many of them have lost their partners, like their first love. And then I just think about losing you. And I'm just like, this is really sad now. Like the hope has taken a turn.
Well, I will say this. I've never been, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or because I watch this show, but I've never been someone that has been really scared of death.
Yeah, me either.
but I'm really scared of death. And I think about it way more than I used to.
I mean, especially watching the show.
And I do, yeah. But date was lovely.
Yeah.
Just
No, but I mean, as much as the stories are really sad, and it's like, oh my gosh, like they've lost their wife or their partner, their girlfriend to these like really tragic situations. Like the show is still about you can find love again.
well,
And
it's
that's
yeah.
what's hopeful is
It-
the chance that like Joan has lost her husband, but she is hopefully going to find love again here. And these guys are going to either find love, and even if they don't, it's kind of opening that door again and opening their heart.
Well, it has to feel somewhat surreal, and I think I feel like I saw it like with Chalk and with Dan when we see them do kind of the talent show, and then Dan gets some separate time. But like you kind of see it like that little bit of sparkle in their eyes where they're like,
Excited.
oh yeah, like I'm like this is like the first time. Oh, like I'm into this person. You could tell like they're going. It's probably taking them back to being like a teenager again, which has to feel wild.
Yeah, well, the feeling of just having a crush on someone.
Yeah.
And dating them for the first time and feeling chemistry again
Yeah.
at any age is so fun.
For sure. For sure.
All right, let's head into the second group date, which is the talent show.
Talent show.
Kind of a Bachelor Nation staple at this point. We've seen a lot of talent shows between Joey's season, Gary's season, and now Joan's season. And this was a date that she shined on when she was on Gary's season. I think she won the group date.
Yeah, I think
She
so.
did a poem. Very cute. And we have Lonnie Love here to help host the date.
Yeah, comedian. She was funny. The talent show, like
Who were the standouts for you from the talents?
Well, you really liked the Navy Kim.
Yeah, I really liked Kim.
You really liked Kim. I thought that was nice. I personally would have went 100% Pascal. Like he went out there, he was confident, he cut that mannequin's hair so quick, and honestly, he did such a great job. I'd be like, this guy. But I don't know if your profession could also be your talent.
Why not?
Mm,
If
in a
anything,
talent
that's
show,
your talent in life should be your profession.
fair. Good point. Good point.
Like we love to yap,
Good
and that's why we're sitting here today.
Yeah, good point. And then obviously Dan comes out and he says he has a tremor, and most people would, because he did. It wasn't even the tremor in his hand. I was like, at the beginning, it did seem like he was nervous.
Yeah, he did seem nervous.
Yeah,
Not just because his hands were shaking.
Yeah,
like his
no, but-
body language, his energy.
Yeah.
He seemed really nervous.
yeah. And I would say most. I mean, I hate talent shows.
No,
Like,
I would
hate
be
them.
so nervous to do a talent show on
hate
this
them
show.
so much.
Because your biggest fear is to look
Stupid.
stupid.
And there's no time I feel dumber than when I'm on stage pretending that I have a talent that I don't have. But yeah, I think Joan really, I think she just was into the way Dan was vulnerable and just put himself out there and tried.
Yeah, he was vulnerable, and he took something that I'm sure he struggles with, his hand tremors, and turned it in to this really beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And honestly, he did seem really nervous, but then once like the music kicked in and he started moving around,
He was good.
he killed it.
Yeah, he did great. He did great. And then she gives him the one-on-one time.
Yeah. And he opens up about his story, which we will talk to him more about in our interview. So be sure to listen to that.
Yeah, he does mention, just in case you didn't see this part of the episode, that the doctor only gave him 6 months to live, which is wild. And I actually want to hear more about that story because I want to know what age this went down, because it's not clear. Like this could have happened when he was like in his 20s, because he does mention he has diabetes. So I want to know more about that, but we'll talk to him.
Yeah, we'll get into that. And they do seem to have a really good connection.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to
Get so stressed out during the regular season that I could actually feel my hair thinning. Your hair is never just about your hair, and Nutrafol knows that. It could be your dating life, your diet, the juggling act that parenting can be, finding your rhythm and new routines, or even following your favorite sports team in an intense season. It could be almost anything that has almost nothing to do with your hair. That's why Nutrafol takes a whole body approach to hair health, addressing the problems inside to help hair growth on the outside. Physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, Nutrafol's hair growth a day. See results in 3 to 6 months.
And then instead of a cocktail party, they do a barbecue, which is always fun. I feel like they did this with Gary's Girls a lot too, where they did kind of like the daytime activities or the daytime cocktail parties.
Very fitting for these men. Like I said, I think this is where the drama is really going to go down. Who likes their burger medium rare? Who likes it well done? And we do see a little bit of that.
Yeah. What kind of toppings are appropriate for a barbecue burger? And then we see Jordan and her do have a lot of chemistry, actually. I saw they were having a conversation.
I don't know if it's chemistry.
Really?
Well, here's the thing. I think they look really good together.
They do.
I'm not sure if it's, and he's in my top 4. Final 4. I don't know why I can't say final 4. But I don't know if it's giving more potential like friend zone.
You think?
Maybe.
What did you think of Joan giving Gary the framed photo of them at prom?
Well, I think it really moved Gary more than I thought it would.
He was very moved by it.
Yeah, to me, I was like, I would have been pissed because I thought she was going to get him a rose. I'd be like, I'm going to get a rose after this conversation. She's like, I have something for you. I'd be like, I'm safe. I don't have to sweat this out. And then she brings a photograph that we took 2 hours ago. I'd be like, what? But he was very happy about it.
So. It was a really nice photo. And I feel like in that environment, especially in the beginning, it's easy to feel like you're getting lost in the group.
Yeah.
So just for her to take that time to do something thoughtful, to be like, hey, I see you and I've been thinking about you, I think is probably what touched him so much. But I'm sure he would have preferred a rose as well.
Yeah. I mean, I wish he would have got a rose. But he did end up getting a rose.
The star moment of the episode, the moment that gets highlighted at the very beginning and we see at the very end, is Mark asking for a kiss in German. Was it German?
No, it was
Dutch.
Dutch. But yeah.
I thought that was so cute. Just the way he set that up with the cards, and yeah, I liked it.
So Mark.
She's into Mark too.
Yeah, and Mark's into her. You could just see it. Like, we're seeing a little bit of it. We're seeing it in his interviews, and he's smiling. And like I said, he's one of the guys that really, you could tell, just comes across very sincere. So everything that he's saying, you're like, okay, this is what's going down. Yeah,
he does feel very comfortable in front of the camera. I don't know if that's just because his daughter was on the show and he did hometowns and he has a little experience with it. But he just feels very relaxed in his interviews, and his answers feel very authentic and unfiltered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there now. I think there's a good chance that she ends up with him.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see him as the next Golden Bachelor.
I could also see
Mark
that.
also has an advantage right now because the audience plus us, we know him better than any of the other guys.
For sure, but so what? Like,
no, totally.
Still
but I'm just
really
saying,
rooting for him.
In 4 weeks, I think we'll still be rooting for Mark, but there'll be a few other guys that we feel like we know a little better and root for as well.
Yeah, but I think even if we didn't know Mark,
I know we would still love him.
I think if we didn't know Mark, you would have watched this episode and you would be like, okay, that's serious. What's going down between them?
Yeah, she's definitely excited about him.
Yeah, and I feel like that's
because she even said you should have asked for that sooner. Like, she wanted to kiss him.
Well, to me, I think that's when we see Joan's layers a little peeled back when she's with Mark, because I think she is also is excited and a little nervous with him. So you're seeing more of her. I don't want to call her disingenuous, but more of her. She's
more comfortable. Like her guard is down more with Mark than with some of the other guys.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm curious to see where that relationship goes. I feel like we haven't seen her like really make out hard with anyone yet.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of like sweet kisses, but
I mean, no one's jumping on each other right now. Like, that's.
I know, but why not?
I don't know, maybe.
I I feel like we'll get there.
Maybe.
Not
And then
saying
who goes home? So rose
So-
ceremony, who goes home?
Eliminated this week was Bob,
Mm-hmm. Nice
Michael,
guy.
Jack, which was a surprise to me.
I mean, Jack's been narrating this entire show.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot.
But he was there for the zip line. Like, he was not, like, you never really even saw him and Joan. Like, there was really no connection. She was like, oh, Jack's, of course, jumping in the pool. Like, he was just like the fun guy. I think you could have kept him around a little longer just for like the fun of it all.
Yeah.
And plus, you never know, like, that's like, what's his name? Bob Guinea, where he was like the fun guy. But like, then you start catching feelings with the fun guy because the fun guy's fun.
And also, you want to keep people that are fun around
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But they obviously just didn't have a connection. But I was surprised to see him go home. And then Christopher
Okay.
went home as well.
Yeah.
Which was, you know what? The first episode, I feel like a lot of the guys that left, I didn't know at all. Like, it was hard to really be surprised by any of the eliminations because there was just so many guys the first episode, and like you don't really see the guys that go home. But episode 2, I'm already surprised by a few of them.
And now's when you start feeling now's when the feelings come in where you start feeling bad when people go home. Especially Golden, because there usually isn't anyone that's like an asshole where you're like, good, I'm glad they went home.
Yeah, it's just harder.
It's just, you're always like, oh, that sucks, they're going home.
You thought for a second Guy was going to get sent home.
I did. I'm glad Guy's still there. Guy's in my Final Four. I like Guy.
I know, he's got a good personality.
Good personality. Yeah, looks great. Yeah, I think that's it. And that's a good that's a solid recap. Thank you everybody for joining and listening to Bachelor Happy Hour, and make sure you stay tuned because we are going to be dropping our interview with Dan pretty soon.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.